Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you so much for joining me from around the world and in the United States. This is the Diana Wright Show. We're live and we're here with you, and we are about to talk about some serious stories. But before I do that, I just want to remind you of our crusade here on the Diana Wright Show Live is that we are making an effort, a concerted effort, an extreme effort, a commanding effort to have each and every one of you, whether you're watching or you're not watching, because I know if you're watching, you're going to pass it on and you're going to tell someone else. Our crusade is simple. I love me. You're trying to love yourself, and I don't care how long it takes you to stand in front of that mirror. Whether you say it 50 times, 100 times, I don't really care. I just want you to say it. I want you to believe it. I want you to love it. And I want you then to just pass that love inside of you and make it happen for yourself. So you can then pass it on to your children and your friends and your family members. And of course, we'd like for you to love us and like us on Facebook. Of course, give us a thumbs up. Blast us on Twitter. Tell everyone about the program. Because come April 30th, it is International I Love Me Day, declared by the Diana Wright Show Live. We're here 10:30 in the morning and 8 o'clock at night. And we welcome you to join the conversation. We start off this evening with a quotation that I'm going to read from this book. And it's one written, it's very short, written by Hugh Lawson White. And it simply says, "The past cannot be changed. The future is still in your power." And I'm going to give that to young people to take their power back. Take your power back. And not just young people, each and every one of you out there. Take your power back. And I talk about that because the man that was freed in New York today served more than 20 years in prison for something he did not do. And this has been happening quite a bit in the US these days, where people are being freed because DNA didn't match, or this person recanted on their story, or, oh, he really didn't rape me, And this man really, as he said he's been saying for years, had nothing to do with this case, didn't kill anyone. His name is David Ratner. Wrongly convicted, released in New York today. David Ratner freed after being convicted of killing Rabbi Chaskell Wurzberger. And I thought about this today a lot. Why? Because when I thought about it, I wondered, after 20 years of your life is snuffed out, what do you do next? I'm sure he will be suing someone, more than likely New York State, New York City, New York, whatever. And he will win. And he will get some money. But how can you just simply imagine what that is like for you to have lost so much time in your life for doing or been accused of doing something that you did not do? Lots of stories coming out about people who are saying, oh, they were coerced to pick him out in the lineup, and oh this and oh that. But how do we continue to make these kind of mistakes and take away centuries of people's lives? It's absolutely insane, and it's happening just a little too often. More than 20 years behind bars and was freed today by a judge. And that judge really apologize to him. And she pointed out that her apology really was not enough and could really do nothing, but she was going to apologize anyway. After a reinvestigation of his case cast serious doubt on evidence used to convict him in the cold-blooded shooting of a Brooklyn rabbi. And when he was asked how he felt, David Ratner simply said, "I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm underwater swimming. I told you all I had nothing to do with this case." I kept saying it over and over. So what do? That's one of my wow stories for the week. And just to let you know that on Fridays now, Friday mornings, we're going to have Week in Review. But we're not just going to call it a Week in Review. We're going to call it Wow and Big Stories of the Week. And none other than Dax Dunn will be joining me to get his views. We're going to talk about a lot of things because he's an expert in the mortgage business, in the housing market and everything. And, this past week, and we're hearing that, housing prices are going up and this is happening and this place is booming. And okay, so what happened to all the people who are still underwater? And construction workers are being hired and all this kind of stuff. There's so many people out there still have no jobs. Construction workers who are being hired are not getting paid as much as they did before and not working as long as they did. But now it's being recommended that part-time work is actually a good thing, because when you work part-time, it is possible that your employer will then take you on full-time. So don't be snubbing the part-time work. But I find it so amazing that we keep making the same mistakes over and over again as it concerns things like these, where people are being convicted and they're really innocent. How many cities are going to pay out millions of dollars for wrong conviction and people losing a whole portion of their lives because they're in prison doing nothing when they actually did nothing? Is our system that corrupt? I saw them trying to interview the cop who actually, is now retired. And he said, according to it, he did what he did and what he had to do at that time. So I just pondered about that. And I really think we need to give pause. What if this was our family member? The injustice that was dealt. How would we feel? What would we do? Would we have been consistently trying to make sure that person gets out? Or you just take the voice and the words of the authorities who say your loved one is guilty? I just can't imagine. But there are lots of things that are kind of impossible to imagine, like today. I wondered about the Republicans and what they were doing today when the president of Israel was giving President Barack Obama the highest honor that a civilian can have in Israel. Yes, he got it today. That's one of my wow big stories that we'll discuss tomorrow. Because I simply wonder why Mitt Romney and the Republicans kept telling us that President Barack Obama was putting Jewish people under the bus, which he wasn't. If you listened to the president of Israel today, not the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, talking about the president. He was just, the praise he gave to the president was incredible. And why is it that in this country, in the United States, President Obama can seem to do nothing right. But yet the people overseas just think he's doing great things. So he got that outstanding award, the highest award that can be given to a civilian. He got it. And when he got it, he was so humble in accepting it. And I was truly, truly impressed by that today. And also to note that the White House also requested that the first black Miss Israeli, Yitzhak, was invited to the ball. And I'm saying this because I want young people to understand that it doesn't matter what your struggle is and where you're starting. It's where you're going, the finish line. Please look at the finish line, because Yitzhak, the first Miss Black Israel, was invited to the ball with President Barack Obama in Israel during his visit, and the White House actually requested that she was there. It has been a great week, a couple of weeks actually, because she won the Miss Israel about 3-4 weeks ago. Think of her life. She's an immigrant orphan from Ethiopia who became Miss Israel, of course, last month. She became an orphan after her mother died and her father had died earlier on. But her grandparents, who are the parents of her mother, they were among thousands of Ethiopian Jews already living in Israel, and they decided to go and get her and her brother. They both, as children, had to learn Hebrew, a new language, a new culture, and they have done it so well. And look at what she has achieved. Despite all the odds against her, she won Miss Israel. She did not even put her name in the kitty, in the box. Someone else did put her name in the entry box for the contest. So imagine, young people, wherever you are this evening, what you can achieve with your power. And don't worry about the past. The future is still in your power. So I plead with all the young people out there who believe that their life is over and nobody loves me and all that kind of stuff. Get with the program. Listen to people and young people like this. Remember, when she got to Israel, she could not speak a word of Hebrew. So she and her brother had to learn Hebrew. And now they speak it fluently because, of course, if you want to learn a language, go to the country it's spoken and stay there for a year. You will be fluent. So I want to applaud this young lady, but I want to applaud her in a different way by saying to you, she said President Barack Obama inspired her because she figured if he became the first black president, she could do anything. And she even repeated, yes, I can. Yes, we can. So it's so amazing to see her courage and her hard work, because I'm sure this all did not come easy. She did not learn Hebrew quickly or easily. So what is it out there, young people, that you're thinking you can't do? Because I'm here to tell you that whatever it is, you can do this. You can achieve it. You can have it. But you must be committed. And you must indeed have faith in yourself. Apart from having faith in God, you need to have faith in yourself and your own ability to achieve. So erase the negative thoughts out of your brain and instill some new ones, beginning with 3 little words. I love me. And I will say that and be proud of saying it without any reservations. Because when you love yourself, whatever your dream is that you want to conquer or achieve, or the mountain you want to climb, you will have the courage to climb that mountain. So as I just want to say to you, don't give up. Keep on fighting. Keep on hoping. As Jesse Jackson would say, keep hope alive. And President Obama said the audacity of hope. Look at what he has achieved, and look at what this young lady has achieved. Coming from Ethiopia, no mother, no father, you're an orphan. And look at what she's done. I'm sure she's going to represent Israel very well, but this is a historic moment. And to see the grace and humility of our President Barack Obama accepting the award from the President of Israel, I thought that was great. I had tears in my eyes as I listened to it driving in my car to go pick up my daughter this afternoon. It started here on the television in my house, and then I ran to my car because I didn't want to miss any of it. And to hear the wonderful things that were being said by the Israelis about Barack Obama, after we were being told and people were trying to convince us that Barack Obama did not like the Jewish people. He wasn't doing anything for the Jewish people. And Mitt Romney would, he's thrown the Israelis under the bus. And of course, Netanyahu kind of bought into it because he almost basically endorsed Mitt Romney for president. So look at today and see what life can really be if you put your mind to it. It's not about your starting point. Remember, I tell you that. Sometimes you just got to start small. It's the finish line. Where are you going? And it's not where you come from or how you look. Yes, you have to have some presence and some confidence and some self-esteem. And you got to put your shoulders back and straighten up and do what you need to do. But you have to have some faith in yourself and your dream. And get out of that depression right now. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. As I say to you, get out of it. Stop being so depressed and being down on yourself. Lift yourself up. Go stand in front of any mirror in your house, because you must have one. Because if you don't have a mirror in your house, you're crazy. Let's just put it that way. Every woman and even young men should have a mirror in their house. And if you don't have a mirror, use your phone, because I'm positive you have a phone. And do what's right for you. Yes. We continue here on the Diana Wright Show Live. And we would like for you to do us a favor and think of saving a life October 5 through Save a Life Jamaica Foundation, headed by Novelet Gale. It was her baby and is her baby, and she brought a few people like myself along. And we would like for you to join the journey. Come along the journey with us, saving lives, not just in Jamaica, but around the world. Okay, so Area Doherty. This is just another sad piece of news for the day. I don't like sad news a lot, but some of this needs to be brought out because our young people need to know what's going on, and the parents need to understand what is going on in this, our little country of the United States of America. Aria Doherty, a 14-year-old straight A student, died this week after inhaling computer keyboard cleaner. This is a growing trend, I understand, among students as young as 8th grade. Now, is that a wow? That is indeed a big story for us. All of us who are parents need to open our ears and our eyes and our brain and see what's going on with our young people. 8th grade, inhaling computer cleaner, keyboard cleaner. Oh, Aria, that's her name, an honor student she was at Noble Middle School in Northridge, Los Angeles. She died on Monday. Her mother, Carolyn, said this. And you know, before I read what her mom said, I like when I hear mothers just kind of, they really don't know what's going on in their teenagers' lives. Because they just assume that everything is good. Because the family talked about the fact that they had cleared out all the alcohol out of the house, and they were talking to her about, not doing drugs, and nobody in the house does drugs. Nobody has weapons of mass destruction to kill people and all that. But I guess they failed to tell her about this one. Her mom said, "I'm positive my daughter didn't realize it had the potential to kill her. And I think this is the first time she was huffing." It's called huffing, Huffing, just in case you're missing it. Huffing. So what would possess a teenager, I ask, to go and take something like computer keyboard cleaner and inhale it to get a high without knowing that it can kill you? I wonder about that. Her older sister found her in bed, and listen how she found her in bed, with a can of It was kind of a very sad story to read today, but I figured I need to tell you this because I have the segment Young Power, and young people, you need to understand the dangers of these things, and parents, you need to be opening your eyes and looking at what your teenagers are doing. Can of compressed air still attached to her mouth with her nostrils taped shut. And a plastic bag was found nearby. Now, if someone is taping their nostrils shut, that alone just seems crazy to me. Her dad, Richard, said, "I would give anything to have her back." Anything, he said. It just took her like that. Those are hard words for a parent to even say and have in their lips. Authorities said that the practice of huffing does not involve the typical chemical culprits. So the typical kid that smokes marijuana and do all the other things that they do, they're not into the inhaling thing because they're into the bigger hard stuff. But who knew that the thing that you thought was not so harmless can kill you? So I am here to remind young people that if you're thinking of going to join the huffing trend and inhaling computer keyboard liquid cleaner, you need to stop. You need to get out of that company. You need to kick that company to the curb and go back to the path that you know you should be on. Because most young people, they know the right path. They just get caught up in this group thing and, they want to be loved and liked by this present person over here and this group of clique over there. It's okay to be by yourself as long as you're not antisocial. It's okay to not be in that group that's doing huffing and taking a life. Inhaling household cleaners, paint, and glue offers what the authorities call a quick high, and they are the things in your house that's accessible to teenagers. So even though you lock away the weapons in the closet, in the glass case, and you remove the liquor out of sight, and there's no drugs in the house, they will find things that are accessible to them, but dangerous enough to kill them. Kezia Miller, who is a counselor with the Los Angeles Unified School District, said this: death can happen very quickly. These substances are poison and they are toxic. Maybe we shouldn't be using them in our houses in the first place. I didn't even know that there was a keyboard cleaner for your computer, because all I do is take the soft thing that they give you or one of those furry sticks thing and dust the computer keyboard. These young people, they just find everything. They can cause all of these things that I'm talking about, whether it's paint or glue or the computer keyboard cleaner. This is what they can cause long-term effects, including damage to the kidneys, liver, and the brain. And for short-term effects, that's including heart problems. So just in case you're out there as a young person and you're hanging out with some people who are telling you about huffing, stop. Huffing can kill you just the way it killed Aria Doherty in California. Instantly, quickly. And her dad simply wants to say or said, I would give anything to have her back. Don't let your parents have to say those words. Spare them the grief and the agony and the pain by just saying no to your friends who you know are actually doing something wrong. Don't join the crowd. Be proud of who you are. Love yourself for your individuality. And things like huffing is not cool. It's not cool to be dead for doing something stupid. Oh my goodness. And here we go again with these banking people. You know, remember banking giant HSBC last year that was fined by the US government? They're at it again. Banking giant HSBC, which was fined for money laundering in 2012, just last year, not that long ago, by the United States, is facing new accusations of illegal activity in Argentina. So I guess they're not doing it here anymore, so Argentina is a place. Argentina has alleged that the bank used fake receipts to facilitate money laundering and tax evasion and launder 392 million pesos, $77 million, and 50 million pounds. That's British English pounds. Argentina's tax authority has filed criminal charges against HSBC. The bank says they will cooperate with the government. And money laundering, in case you don't know what it is the process of disguising the proceeds of crime so that money cannot be linked to the wrongdoer. Okay? So HSBC, just in case it's your bank, they're at it again. And they're being fined, and I bet they're going to find a way to pass that fine off to the consumer. Anyway, just maybe they will do just that. Well, we'll see. HSBC, they need to get their act together. They're not obviously monitoring all of this that they should be doing. So we hope that they will take heed after this incident in Argentina. Now, here's a health story that I think is quite interesting because it kind of brings you back to reality and wants you to think moderation. Whatever you do, moderation is the key. I don't care what it is. If you're going to try to lose weight, yeah, you can go to the extreme to try to get that weight moving, because sometimes the weight on your body is just simply stubborn. Yeah? And it's hard to get off. And I always say to people, come on, eat that over there, because on your hips it will stay. It's always easy to gain weight, but my goodness, it's so hard to get it off. So whatever you do in moderation. I'm not saying deprivation is not my thing. I don't like to be deprived of things. If I choose not to have something, that's fine. But I shouldn't be deprived of something that I truly want. And I'd rather wait for something that I truly want than buy something inferior in the meantime. I'm not an in the meantime kind of person. I want the best, and until I can afford to get and buy the best, I'll wait. Very patient when it comes to things like that. And it doesn't really matter what it is, whether it's clothing or, or furniture or whatever, a car or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. You wait patiently for what you want, and you should do everything in moderation anyway. This is a case of, I think, excess, because some of us are excessive, because when you look at those programs on television where people are losing weight and, they're being entered into these programs because they're obese, and when they show you what they actually eat on a daily basis, you're going, is that for real? Or they're just saying that for shell shock on television, or for the to give themselves ratings or something. Because when I saw one young woman on one of those shows, and they literally had a table filled with food of all very varying types: fried, dessert, cake, burgers, hot dog, whatever, chips, all that kind of stuff. And she then said, I eat that sometimes in a day or in a week. And I'm going, what? So here's a story of moderation for you. A case study in the New England Journal of Medicine shows how habitually drinking an extreme form of highly concentrated tea, I said tea, I know you're shocked, over almost 20 years, created a hard to diagnose a case of severe bone damage in a 47-year-old woman in Lansing, Michigan. She had to have all her teeth extracted due to brittleness. So she drank all that tea over 20-year span. Her teeth got so brittle they had to take them all out. She was drinking regularly a pitcher a day of tea made from about 100 to 150 tea bags. Now, who does that? Seriously. This gave her more than 20 milligrams of fluoride, with a fluoride concentration in her blood of 0.43 milligrams per liter. Now, the normal for you and I, for everyone else, is 0.10 and she's at 0.43 milligrams per liter. Hence, this lady, they didn't give her a name because I don't think she wants her name out. This patient was referred to Dr. Rail for a bone biopsy because no one could figure out what was wrong with her. He is the section head of bone and mineral metabolism and director of the Bone and Mineral Research Lab at Henry Ford Health System in Detroit. It so happens that Dr. Rayo came from an area in India where fluoride levels in the water are naturally extremely high, that sometimes caused a condition called skeletal fluorosis. Dr. Rayo said the woman's bone density was very high, and he means 7 times more dense than the normal person. He noted the outlook of this woman is positive, but it's hard to know how long it will take for the body to rid itself of the excess fluoride accumulation in her body. So I am here to read that story to you tonight, to say to you, whatever you're doing, don't do it in excess, please. If you're gonna eat ice cream, do not eat the whole box. If you're gonna eat chips and you're sitting in front of the TV, do not eat the whole bag. Take some out, put it on a napkin or a plate or whatever suits your fancy, and eat from that. Because if you sit in front of the television with a bag of popcorn, a bag of chips, and you're engaged in the television, you will be eating blind, and by the time you look around, the bag is empty, or the ice cream box is empty. So don't do it. Why do you want to do that to yourself? You're destroying your body. Now you imagine someone drinking tea and destroying themselves. Tea that is supposed to be good for you, because green tea, you heard Dax talking about apple cinnamon tea. I'm going to try to drink some of that tonight. Yeah. And now she's doing this in excess. 100 to 150 tea bags a day in a pitcher. I'm assuming that the pitcher is not that big, so it must be very concentrated. Sometimes you can't even drink a cup of tea and allow that tea bag to sit in it for the whole time because it's so concentrated. Most people, like myself, if I'm drinking certain types of tea, I have to take the tea bag out before it's brewed because it's too strong. So how do you put 100 tea bags in your pitcher of tea? How do you do that? I didn't say just 100. The story states 100 to 150. I'm totally amazed and puzzled. It's now 20 minutes to 9 o'clock, and we welcome you again to the Diana Wright Show live, and we thank you so much for joining us. Reminding you, April 30th is International I Love Me Day, the crusade of the Diana Wright Show live, because we want you simply to love yourself. And if you love yourself, you ain't going to do this with this tea bag thing. That woman doesn't love herself. Because if you love yourself, you must in your mind know and can decipher for yourself that putting 150 tea bags or 100 tea bags in a pitcher of water has got to be too concentrated for your body. So just don't do it. And please do everything you do it in moderation. Nobody's saying don't eat this, don't eat that. Small portions. Satisfy your hunger. Satisfy your crave. Satisfying your crave does not mean to eat the whole thing. It simply means satisfying your crave. That's the reason it says satisfying. So if you're satisfying your crave, you only need a small amount to do so. And if you're hungry, when you're dying of hunger, if you drink a bottle of water, and this is me, you drink a bottle of water or you just have a small amount, say it's nuts you're craving for. If you just put a small amount of nuts in your hand, you eat those nuts and you drink that water and you are full. I promise you that. I'm not lying. Try it. It's good. So whatever you crave, because I'm a craver of cashew nuts. If I don't want to eat them, I don't buy them. Because if they're in my house, I'm going to eat them. Because it quenches your hunger in a flash. Just like water does. So I'm just begging you this evening. If you want to lose some weight, apart from getting on the 21 detox with Dax, it becomes a lifestyle. Because even though you finish that 21-day detox, it's going to be about you controlling what you put in your mouth. And if you're a young person, a teenager, because teenagers tend to get a little chubby, and then they realize, oops, when I go to the store, I can't buy the sexiest thing, or I don't look good in that thing. So they then decide within themselves, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose weight. I did it as a teenager. As a teenager, I was wearing like a size 13. And now you can get me into a 4. A 6. And the 8 is definitely too big. And I just got up one day and I said, I ain't going to do this no more. No more fast food. No. I actually went on a milk diet and tried to get my mother to come on the diet with me. She started for maybe half a day and she couldn't sustain. So, hence, I went on that diet of just drinking milk because I said to her, okay, when you're a baby, all they give you to drink is milk. So if I drink milk as an adult, I'll be fine. Hence, I went on that milk diet and I just dropped them pounds. And I have never really been fat since that. Of course, when I had my daughter, I gained 60 pounds. So when I gained the 60 pounds, I told my mom again after I had my daughter, I said, this weight ain't staying on my body, that's for sure. And I am here to let you know that when I was pregnant, I ate like there was no tomorrow. I remember being at Power 106 and my boss, Mr. James, used to say to me, oh, Diana, what's for lunch today? Because I must have lunch. It seems like when you get pregnant and you're not particularly a big eater, your psychological brain just says to you, come on now, eat up everything and make up for what you lost during the months that you weren't pregnant. So, hence, I gained 60 pounds. And when I gained 60 pounds, my mom just looked at me and said, oh my God. When I saw myself in pictures, I thought I looked like a truck. And then I decided this was it. And when my mother came to pick me up at the airport, I think it was like 3 months or 6 months later, she was like, what happened? Where did the weight go? I said, I told you I wasn't coming back with it. So you have to be committed and you have to speak to yourself. Have an intelligent conversation with yourself. And let yourself know, I am not going to put up with this fat anymore. I'm taking it off. So hunger, get behind me just like you tell Satan to get behind you. That's what I want you to do. Because you can do this. It's possible. I speak from experience. Okay? So, anyway, please do not go and put 100 or 150 tea bags in any pitcher of water to drink tea. All you need is 1 tea bag per time. Okay? Because you see the danger it can do? Okay. All right. Well, this is an interesting story to keep your blood going and moving you around today. And it is one of my wow big stories. First, there was that COO lady of Facebook, Sheryl Sandberg, who said, and whose book is entitled Lean In. Now, the first African-American CEO of Xerox has gotten into the game, but she didn't write a book. She was just speaking at a function. Her name is Ursula Barnes, and this is what she says. One of the keys to be successful is to marry someone 20 years older than you are. So they can retire, stay home with the children when your job takes a run and advance. So ladies, what do you think? I heard lots of comments about this. She said it worked for her because during her, journey to be successful, she met her husband along the way. He's 20 years older than she is. And then he retired, took care of the babies, and she pursued her career with a vengeance. So, I just wondered, are older men boring? I heard someone saying, I don't really agree with her because I heard someone on CNN saying that today. I don't really agree with her because you will be bored to death trying to get them babies taken care of by your husband staying home. I guess older guys are boring. Maybe, maybe not. Because not everybody acts old, Some people actually, they're older, but they kind of act young. So, are older men boring, ladies? That's a question for you. Do you always have to pay for the younger date? That was one of the things that was brought up today. Some people believe that if you date younger people, you're always going to be picking up the tab if you're successful. So why bother? You want to have someone just as successful as you are. The next question, should you have your own identity before you get married? I heard Tom Joyner's wife saying, and she'd be mad hearing me call her Tom Joyner's wife because she said, I had my own identity before I got married to Tom Joyner. So, just to let you know and just to wonder, what are your thoughts on this? Sandberg, the Facebook COO, said, the most important career choice you're going to make in your life is who you choose as your life partner. So, two different thoughts. She thinks that it's the most important career decision you make because, of course, I guess she's thinking that, you marry someone that is your equal or doing a little much better than you are, not necessarily older, but that life partner is going to be a real partner because you notice she said the words life partner. But in the case of Ursula Barnes, she just wanted to marry some old sugar daddy. I don't know if her husband was a sugar daddy, but normally guys who are 20 years older than you, they better have some money in the bank. So you ain't going to be struggling with no 20 years older than you guy. I'm sure of that. Just to let you know, if you want to join in on the conversation, you can email me at dianawrighttv@gmail.com or you can give me a call at 561-228-1921. Having some fun at the expense of Ursula Barnes, the CEO and first African-American woman to take up such a position at Xerox. And of course, the first African-American woman to have or become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So we congratulate Ms. Burns on that. But I'm not so sure about the 20. Now, if you take up a guy that's 20 years older than you and he is not retiring, you get stuck with the boring old guy. Maybe. Okay? So my advice to you, just make sure you stay on your career path. When love comes, you receive it. And hopefully it works out for you. All right? So let's just think about it that way. Alrighty, let's see. I have a few more stories here before I have to check out of here because it's 10 minutes now to 9 o'clock. There's some companies. This flows right into that story, actually. There are a few companies that have a very bad reputation. Did you know? And they just decided to give you 10 of them. Number 10 is Comcast, that now owns NBC. And if you have Comcast, I guess Infinity is part of Comcast. They're one of the worst companies. Wells Fargo made the list. JP Morgan Chase made the list. Are you noticing a trend here? The banking people? BP, of course, the oil spiller that almost cost Barack Obama to lose all his hair and get a little grayer than he really is now. Citigroup. Bank of America. Are you noticing the trend? American Airlines also made the list. And of course, Dick Cheney's company, or company that he's associated with, Halliburton, made the list also. Goldman Sachs, another financial giant, makes the list. And who can forget AIG, CEO with that shower curtain worth $100,000. Is he crazy or what? He bought a shower curtain for $100,000. That interior designer ripped him off. Because that thing, when they showed it on television, it actually looked ugly. So, AIG, they're number one actually. And that's the American International Group. And if you notice that AIG is coming out with those ads these days, trying to convince you that they're changed and they're great and they're the best insurance company, be wary. Make sure you check the facts with AIG. Because see, they made the list number one. Actually, going backwards, it's AIG number one, Goldman Sachs number two, Halliburton number three, American Airlines number four, Bank of America number five, Citigroup number six, BP number seven, JP Morgan Chase number eight, Wells Fargo number nine, and good old Comcast, NBC. They said Comcast. They didn't put the NBC on it. Because NBC seems to be doing pretty good. Even though they're stirring some pot today about Jay Leno again leaving late night, and they're going to give this guy the job who is 38, and they have a problem with the old guys. Do you know that they try to get old people out of their jobs by disguising what they're saying? Talking about they're going to try to get a younger crowd. If you're a comedian and you're good, I don't know about the age thing. It's the second time around they're trying to get rid of Jay, and see, they had to bring him back. So what was it, Jimmy Farrell or somebody they're trying to give the job to? I am not up enough at that time to watch late night anymore. I guess I'm getting old. No, I'm not. Okay, let's see here now. First date rules revealed by men. And this is a young man called Paul Carrick Brownson. Or Brunson, I think is the way he pronounces his name. His book is called It's Complicated, but it doesn't have to be. So, these are some of the things that guys are complaining about women when they go out on a date with you. Being late for the date with no warning. So if you're going to be late, ladies, can you just text him or call him and say, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be late for the date. I'll be there in 10 minutes, a half an hour or whatever. Don't just have the guy sitting in the restaurant or wherever he's meeting you, sitting down and you turn up an hour late. First of all, that's actually rude. So, and guys are complaining about it. Imagine that. Dressing inappropriately. Ladies, I don't know. I don't think a guy needs to see your dress, your skirt, so short that if you sneeze, your panties can be seen. Don't leave all of your clothes in the wardrobe. Take most of it with you. And don't try to be too sexy on that first date. And men, do not turn up in your sneakers and your sweatshirt and your hoodie. It's not cool. Okay? It's just not cool. So turn up looking like a gentleman. And definitely don't be wearing your pants and she can see your underwear, because that way, I'm telling you, you will not even see that date. That date will be running through the door and be gone. And certainly, you want to cut your hair. No afro peak in your hair and no afro. It's not time for afro right now. And no socks and sandals. Come looking like a gentleman with a belt in your pants waist. Looking crisp. And if you're very dark skinned, white shirt or a pink shirt or any pastel color will make you shine. I promise you that. So ladies, those extra short micro minis, not appropriate for a date. Poor eye contact and fake smiles. Now, even in normal times, with or without a date, I'm not feeling that fake smile from anyone. So please don't do it on a date, especially. And try to look people in their eyes like I'm looking at you right now. Look in the eyes of your date. Your eyes is a seat of your soul. And when you look in someone's eyes, you can actually tell what they're thinking if you are thoughtful enough. You can know if they're lying too. Because if they're lying, they ain't gonna look you straight in the eye. When someone looks you in the eye and say to you, I love you, I like you, I want to be with you, or whatever they say, then you can believe them. Looking in your eyes. Phone addictions. You know, you're out with someone. It doesn't even have to be a date, but these are what the guys are complaining about on the dates. But do you know when you go out with people or you're at dinner with your friend or something and they're on the bloody phone? And I want to say, put the phone down. They're in church, they have the phone. They're at a funeral, they have a phone. What's up with this? What did you all do without phones before cell phones, the little ones, came out? Because I remember the days when cell phones were big old hunky things, big like this bottle here, and big and chunky. And I'm serious. When you're going out to dinner to have a conversation with a friend, leave your phone off. Or leave it in the car, put it in your bag, and turn it off. Because the people who are calling you should actually know that you're out with your friend or your husband or your significant other. Don't bother with the phone. If they call them back. Unless there's an emergency. And I'm sure if there's an emergency, they will track you down and know where to find you. So, no phone addictions on the date. Poor manners. Don't be nasty to the waiter. So if if you're on a date, don't be rude to the waiter who's serving you your food, because the person you're taking out might be saying, he's kind of snooty. I don't want to be with him again. I don't want another date. So try to be nice and show your good side. But I don't actually believe in that totally, because I'm hoping that in the natural, in your normal life, you're not nasty. So I am actually hoping that what you do is you be yourself, which is supposed to be a self that you love. So you are a good person and you're going to display that goodness and not pretend to be someone that you're not. If you love food, when you go on a date, do not pretend like you can't eat. But if you are out on a date, I don't expect you to be slopping your food in either. You need to eat properly like a lady and like a gentleman. Hopefully that's the way you eat at home. You eat with a bite and you chew. And do not stand there and cut up all your food at one time like you're a little kid that someone is cutting up your food for. Cut a piece, eat it, then when you're finished, and always remember to put your fork and your knife down between bites. Then you pick it back up and you cut another piece and you put it in your mouth and you put the knife and fork down. So if you speak with your hands, like I like to sometimes, your hands will be free. Because when you go out to dinner with someone, you're actually supposed to be having a conversation. You're not supposed to be just eating and not talking. Don't eat with the food in your mouth, obviously. And don't drink while you're eating, obviously. So, see, the guys don't really like it either. Talking about your ex. I always wonder why people do this. You know, they go with someone new and all they talk about is the ex-boyfriend or the ex-husband. And you ladies who are married and divorced and have on your wedding ring still, you need to take it off. It's not cool. Do you know how many ladies I know or how many friends I have or acquaintances I should call them? And they're divorced for how many years and they still wearing their wedding band? And I'm going, why are you still wearing that? You're not married anymore. And for me, I get divorced, I'm going back to my name, my own name that I was given at birth. And that you should. All these women divorce and have their rings on acting like they're still married. So, don't talk about your ex at your date. They're not interested. They don't want to know. Unless they ask you, it should not be a topic of conversation. Not knowing the BBR. Now, this is something I learned. Very, 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 very new. Never heard of this before. I wonder if you know what it is. Do you know what the BBR rule is in dating? It's the belly button rule. And this is what it is. If your belly button is facing the person that you're having the date with, that simply means that you like the person. And, you think the date is going pretty well. If the belly button is faced away, you're saying, get me the hell out of this date. I want to go now. So if you're sitting sideways, or doing your antics to try to look that way or move around too much, it simply means that you don't want to be there. So get me the hell out of here. So, make sure you check that. I didn't know about that. BBR, the BBR rule. I am interested in conversation with you if I'm facing you with my belly button pointed to you. You learn something new every single day. So I did learn about the BBR. Do you know what the BBR is? Or did you know what it is before I told you? Now, the question of this evening before I go out of here. Should women pop the marriage question to a man? My answer? Absolutely not. No way. No way in hell. Hell no. What do you say? Now, 2% of women say they would pop the question to a man to ask them to marry them. I don't think that's a good idea. Because you see the first argument that you have when you get married? He's going to say, I didn't want to marry you. You are the one who wanted to get married. So please, ladies, I'm so happy to learn that it's only 2% of you actually wanted to ask a man to marry you. Just like you shouldn't chase a man like the young lady on Miss USA on Atlanta Housewife. You should not be chasing a guy like she is chasing or was chasing Walter. Or any man for that matter. It seems like the first time she meets a man, she wants to know, okay, what's your intentions? You're going to marry me or what? No, not the way to go. Never try to force a guy to marry you. Never try to coerce a guy to marry you. Relationships take time. Just keep your legs closed and your vajayjay where it is, where God put it. All you do, go out on a date and know the person. Learn who the person is. Decide if you want to see this person again. And if you're dating for X amount of months, you must know how long you want to date for without, having the relationship move to the next level. That's up to you. That's a personal thing, I think. Whether it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it is. But never, ever, 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 ever hunt a man or chase him. Talking about Miss USA, I don't know which year she said she was Miss USA anyway. She's talking about, oh, I took my clothes off in the hotel room and he didn't even respond, so that means he must be gay. Maybe Walter was just not into you, Kenya. That's my advice. So keep on moving. And the fact that she's trying to create this scene on the show talking about, no one should invite Walter to anything. You're not in control of the universe. And a lot of women are like that. Just like a lot of women that I know that I keep telling, you cannot be fathers. You are a female. You're a woman. You cannot be a man. You don't have a penis. And you cannot be a father. So don't take away the privilege from your children. When you and your husband or your significant other falls out of love and you have children, do not keep them from their father because you are mad with him. The children are not normally mad with their parents or their parent. So ladies, keep in mind, you can never be a father. I don't care how good a single parent, single mother you are. You just simply cannot be a man, a father to a child. So don't deny that child of that relationship, because that relationship, I can tell you, is a very, very important and crucial and critical one. Remember the young man this weekend that was charged with rape? The black one. In Ohio, his father was so saddened because he blamed himself for not being there for the young man. Let that not be you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And, of course, I say to you, welcome from around the world and in the United States. And I thank you so much as I remind you to keep April 30th in your brain and continue to say, I love me every single day of your life until you feel it in your spirit, in your soul, in your heart, and in your mind. And you can't shake it anymore. No one can get to you with their negative thoughts anymore because you are loving yourself. You have self-esteem and self-confidence. So stay prayed up and love Jesus. Monday is Passover. If you're Jewish or if you're in the 7-day church, Monday's the day for the matzo. And we learned that matzos and all the Jewish things that they use for their Passover has escalated in price. But they're buying it anyway because they have to celebrate their Passover, because Passover is important. So whatever you do, take care of yourself. Have a great evening. And don't forget, ladies, you cannot be fathers. You're women. So, thanks again for joining me. And don't forget, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours. Have a great evening. And I see you here tomorrow morning at 10:30. And my special guest will be Dax Dunn as I pick his brain on mortgages, finance, real estate, and of course, all the wow and big news of the week. That's what we do on a Friday. Starting tomorrow, Dax Dunn and Diana Wright on the Diana Wright Show live. Ciao, I say to you, au revoir, and adios, and simply, good evening. Dooby dooby doo. Be dooby dooby.